This is hurting my arm. Asshole main character, guy main character. And that sounds right up my asshole. What? That sounds right up my alley. Alright, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Jocelyn Reed. Okay, today I'm a little late on the train of my end of year, well, I kind of feel like this is a beginning of the year video for me, like a January-esque video. So if this gets edited and put up on January, I'm gonna say that I'm not late to the train, even though I totally am. I'm late, but but this is gonna be my top 20 backlist titles that I want to read in 2020. So yeah, 20 with the 2020. 320s. So I have 6 categories for this video, kind of like that. I put them in a way that they would flow. So I'm going to start with YA series that I'm continuing, then I'm going to go on to adult series. None of them are ones that I'm continuing, so that's not a category, so just adult series. And then I'm going to go into YA series or standalones that I'm starting. Those are kind of go together. So like if it's a YA series that I'm starting or a YA standalone, I'm just going to put them together. So I'm kind of treating the first books as standalones even though they're not. And then my fourth category is YA contemporary, which I only think I have 2 of. And then my 5th category are thrillers. So I don't know where I got 6 from. Maybe I separated that category in my head, that 3rd one, but now I got 5. So math. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the first series that I want to continue with and complete in 2020 is the Throne of Glass series. I might not give an explanation for every single book just because I'm going through 20 of them. So if it's a book that's pretty well known, I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe talk a little bit about it but not really give it a synopsis, just because Throne of Glass, everyone knows what Throne of Glass is. If I give a synopsis of all 20 of these books, I feel like we would be here for 3 hours because it takes me 2 hours just to get the words that I want to say out. So yeah, I want to continue Throne of Glass, which is basically read the entire series because this is the only one that I have read, and I think I gave it 4 stars. On Goodreads it says 4 stars, but I think this was more of a 3.5, 3.25 for me, so I might go and lower my rating just because now that I think about it, all the other 4 stars that I have, I feel like are higher than this in my head. And this is maybe more of a 3.25, but I do want to read the whole series just because I am an ACOTAR stan, and I feel like as it gets closer to the same publication date as when she wrote ACOTAR, I'm going to start loving these books more and more. I want to finish the Renegades series, and I need to read Arch Enemies, and I also need to read Supernova. Renegades was one that I really enjoyed in 2019. It basically follows 2 separate sides. You have anarchists and you have renegades, and anarchists are considered the bad guys and renegades are the good guys, and we have an anarchist infiltrating the renegades, and we kind of see that everything is not as black and white as you seem. I love superhero stories, so I just knew this was going to be for me. And yeah, I'm really excited to continue on with Arch Enemies and Supernova, and I hope I love them. So those are the only 2 YA series that I really wanted to put on my list. And the next category that I'm going to go into is adult series that I want to read in 2020. The first adult series that I want to read in 2020 is A Darker Shade of Magic. This book is kind of messed up. I don't know how this happened. I came home one break and my book was like this. No one knew what happened. Surprise, surprise. But this series is one that everyone raves about, and I've been wanting to get to it forever. I think I read maybe the first page and I just couldn't get past it, but I wasn't at the time where I had read a lot of adult fantasy, so it was just kind of different for me, and I don't know, I just couldn't read it. But I did read another series from Victoria Schwab, and it's probably my favorite series of all time, and it's Vicious. Well, it's not a series, it's a duology, Vicious and Vengeful. And ever since I read that, I can't just read those 2 for the rest of my lives. So I'm hoping the author herself can give me something similar and kind of give me those same, not necessarily the same vibes because she's not going to write the same story twice, but just I really liked her writing. So hopefully I get that same type of thing in A Darker Shade of Magic. Basically what this is about, I think there's like basically 4 alternate Londons, and we have Kel who can travel through the Londons, and there's some type of danger going on with one of the Londons. So for the next one, I'm not sure if there's more to the series coming out or if it's just this book and its sequel, but it's one that I've been wanting to get to forever, and I really hope that I can get to this in the beginning of the year. And it is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is one that everyone raves about, and I'm really excited to get to it because I've just been in love with adult fantasy, especially adult high fantasy, and that's pretty much all that I want to read in 2020. No, I'm just kidding. It's not all that I want to read. I have like 6 categories here. Who am I kidding? But it's something I really want to focus on reading in 2020. So this is basically an adult Chinese high fantasy, and I heard there's lots of trigger warnings. There's just very complex war and like world building, as well as just like political intrigue. Okay, so that was my 6th category. Now remember, because I only had 2 adult series, so now I have adult standalones. And the first of the 2 that I want to get to is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I loved Leigh Bardugo. Everyone knows that. Here's my prized possession right behind me. Like, we stand. I'm wanting to read this forever. The plot sounds like something I would really enjoy. I'm really into these kind of creepy aesthetic plots now. Kind of like this dark. I don't know why I'm saying I'm into it. I read the Diviners. I read 50 pages of the Diviners, and now I like anything kind of that gives me the same vibes, and I get those same vibes from this. This book is basically about a girl named Alex who is going into Yale to kind of keep an eye on this cult that is at Yale that is raising the dead, and she's the only one who can keep an eye on them because she can see ghosts. And the next standalone is my top book of 2020. This book I've been wanting to read forever. I feel like this will become one of my favorite books of all time. This will either be, it'll be like this book and then Vicious, or it'll be Vicious and then this book. And the book is Middlegame by Shauna Maguire. Every time I hear this synopsis, it just sounds so weird, so different. I just know that I'm gonna love it because I realized I am a big fan of sci-fi. And originally I didn't know I liked sci-fi so much, but I didn't know that just because I didn't know what encompassed sci-fi. So now that I do, I realize I'm a big fan of sci-fi, and Middlegame sounds right up my alley. Middlegame is about 2 twins, Roger and Dodger, who are kind of, I don't know if they're made or what, but they both have like these specific skill sets that the other doesn't. And I don't know, it just sounds really good. I don't know exactly what it's about, but it's my top book of 2020. I don't really care if I don't know exactly what it's about. What I have heard, I just know that it sounds right up my alley. It sounds like something I am going to love, and that cover is stunning. All right, another adult fantasy that I want to get to is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I started this book. I actually still have my bookmark in there, and I got like a decent amount of the way, but to be honest, this was a buddy read. We were both kind of confused in the beginning, even though after I read the back I kind of became more understanding. I was able to understand it more. But yeah, this is one that I didn't get to finish, and I heard that everyone loves this, and I just heard that there's a good like broody asshole main character, and that sounds right up my asshole. What? That sounds right up my alley, and I really want to read this book. I don't even want to say what it's about anymore because what the fuck. I meant to get to this last year, but somehow didn't happen. I know why. This is why it didn't happen. Yeah, I need to actually sit down and make a plan on how to read this book, just because I'm not about to just pick this up and read it like it's a YA fantasy. I need to mark off some pages, make myself a schedule, something, because this is a brick, and I look at it and I'm scared, but heard nothing but good things about it from the people who actually are braver than the Marines and actually finished it. Yeah, I have to use 2 hands for this because whoa, I'm a weak bitch. But this is basically an adult high fantasy about dragons, and there's also a lesbian romance, and this just looks like I would love it, and I'm saying that because I like the cover. The next category that I have is YA standalones, or the first of series. And the first book that I'm really keen to, why did I say keen? I've been watching too much Love Island, okay? The next book that I'm really excited to get to, I keep saying excited. Maybe I should say keen so I have a synonym, but I can't say it like they do on Love Island. But anyway, the next book that I want to get to is Girls with Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan. This book is on the same kind of level as Pride with the Orange Tree, where it is a lesbian fantasy, except this one is YA, and it's completely different setting and things like that, and there's no dragons. So the only thing they have in common is that they're lesbian fantasy, but I found out I have a lot of these on my shelf, so I need to go ahead and get to them. So this one is about these girls who are called paper girls who work for this king, and they work for this king in the sense that they are sexually assaulted almost every single day. So there's a trigger warning for that. They're sexually assaulted and just basically just used by him, and they're not allowed to fall in love or have any other relationships. They're just there for the king's pleasing. And what happens is 2 paper girls fall in love, which is just very dangerous. This is a lot of people's favorite book, and I feel like it deserves to be read because the next book just came out and I want to get to it as well. The last lesbian fantasy that is a backlist title that I want to get to is Cryer's War by Nina Varela. This book I also talked about in my haul that I did recently. It's basically about a society where humans are servants and the people who are made, I'm not sure if that makes them robots or not, are at the top of society. So basically a human girl who is a servant wants to avenge her family in some way by killing the daughter of one of the higher people who are made. and what happens is they end up falling in love. The next book I know for sure is the first in the series, and it's Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I'm supposed to buddy read this with Carly from Carly Reads. I'll link her down below. But I'm really excited to read this one this year just because I hear everything about Thomas Craswell. Like, people cannot stop raving about him, and I just love having book boyfriends. So if he's one that's at the top of the list, I need to read him for myself and figure out what is going on. This book is about a woman who is following the trail of Jack the Ripper and trying to solve the crime. I might be missing a few details, but I'm pretty sure that's the gist of what's going on. The next is The Storm Crow by Kaylin Josephine. This is one that I've been wanting to get to forever. Like, since ARCs were out, I wanted to read this book, and I don't know what it is, but it's something about this cover that just draws me in. And the next book that I have that I want to read, that is the first in the YA series, is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I've been meaning to read this forever. Like, I'm pretty sure it's been on almost every single TBR that I have on my channel, but look at it here and not read, so that shows how much you can trust me with these TBRs. But I am reading this year. This book is basically about a girl who wants to be a pilot, but her father, who was also a pilot, apparently abandoned ship, or like abandoned his crew, and he was labeled a coward, so no one takes her seriously. But she feels as though he is not a coward, and she wants to kind of prove her family name. And she ends up finding out this is all some type of cover-up, and this story follows her figuring out what the hell actually happened. And it sounds amazing to me. I feel like Brandon Sanderson might become one of my favorite authors this year, so I need to read this. This is actually the last first of a series that I want to get to and actually read the entire series, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I don't know much about this except that it's Hate to Love and it's Laini Taylor, and I loved Strange to Dreamers, so I feel like I'm gonna love this, and I want to read it in 2020. The next category that I have is YA Contemporary, but I'm gonna start it off with an adult contemporary first because I realized I just have one random adult contemporary, so I'll just throw it in with these because I feel like that works. And that book is Next Year in Havana by Chanel Cleaton. And this book is about a girl traveling to Havana and finding out about her roots, really, and I'm pretty sure it's also a romance, and the cover's stunning. This color is really pretty, and it's one that I've been wanting to read for a while, so I'm excited to get to it. And the first YA contemporary that I have that I really want to read is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I've been wanting to read this book forever, especially because I've heard Simone from Chasing Pages talk about it. I'll link her down below, and she says this book was something that she really related to as a black girl, and I know this is maybe Afro-Latina the girl is, but she said she really felt like she related to the girl, and like this book was just so powerful. So this is one that I've really been meaning to get to, and Simone actually got this for me, so thank you, Simone, again. She got it for my birthday, and I just feel like I need to read it. Like, look at all these awards. You know this book is fire, so I'm getting to it in 2020. All right, and the last YA contemporary, it's not really contemporary, it's kind of like YA thriller suspense, but like I just threw this category together. I had 3 things that didn't go together, and I somehow made them fit. So yeah, this is Sadie by Courtney Summers. I'm especially excited to get to this in 2020 now that I have this goal of reading 5 audiobooks a month, and I heard this audiobook slaps, so I'm really excited to read this. This basically is about a girl whose sister went missing, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her, really. I'm not sure, but I know this has this type of like podcast element that makes the audiobook just really good. This is probably one of my favorite covers of all time, so it'd be nice to actually have read the book. The last category that I end up having is thrillers. Hopefully this was 20 books because bro, and hopefully I did this right and got all 20 of my books, or if not, it will be very unsatisfying. So the last category that I have is thrillers, and the first one that I have that I want to read is No Exit by Taylor Adams. And this book was gifted to me by Carly from Carly Reads. I'll link her down below. This is one of her favorite books of last year, and the synopsis just sounds so good to me. This is basically about a girl who is caught up in a snowstorm, so she has to stop at a rest stop, and when she stops at the rest stop, she sees a little girl in one of the trunks, and it becomes a whodunit situation where she's trying to figure out who at that rest stop out of the 4 other people that she's stuck with kidnapped that girl. And it sounds good to me. It sounds like Criminal Minds, SVU, that's my shit, so this should be good if it's written well, but we'll just have to see. So the next thriller that I want to get to is Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker. What is that? Must have a sticker on here. Every single person that has read this book that I've seen has absolutely raved about it, and it just sounds so good. This is basically about a girl who went missing with her sister, and one day she comes back, but her sister doesn't come back with her, and she has this story, and a lot of it doesn't make sense, and everyone's confused, and like the people who are investigating kind of start to think that it's something with like the family. One of the family members did it because her story's just not adding up, and just becomes kind of like a, I don't know if it's necessarily an unreliable narrator, but it's just them trying to figure out what the hell happened to her and her sister. And like I said, SVU sounds like something from Law & Order SVU, and I feel like I need to start, I love TV shows like that, but I don't read books like that, so I need to start reading books like that, and I feel like this would be a good one to get me into that. Okay, so the last and final book that I have of this entire thing, the 20th of 2020. These weren't in really any particular order, so it's not exactly 20, but it's the last one I'm talking about, so it's 20. Is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I heard this is fucked up and I'm ready for it. So what I know about this one is it's about two sisters with two completely different life trajectories. Like one is like a trophy wife, billionaire, and the other one is a single mother, like dating a ex-con or something. And what they both have in common is that they had a sister who went missing, and that is still affecting their lives. And I guess there's something thrillerish about that ends up happening. There's lots of trigger warnings about this one, so I don't know them all exactly myself because obviously I haven't read it. But if you were thinking about picking this one up, I would definitely look up some trigger warnings because I heard this is really, really fucked up. So yeah. Alright, so those are my top 20 books of 2020. All my stuff is down below, my Goodreads, Twitter, all that things. I'm really active on Twitter. So if you want to talk about any of these books with me, or you also plan on reading any of these and you want a buddy reader, reach out to me on Twitter. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all those things down below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!